Let it
Hello,
go.
hello. Welcome to our
Oh,
channel.
okay.
Today, damn it, stop it.
No,
Stop
no, we
it.
could have kept it
Stop
going.
it. Stop
We
it.
could have
All
kept it
right, let's
going.
keep going.
Keep it going. Listen, we're not even gonna edit this. We're gonna let this go because we're not trying to seek for perfection. We people too.
All
So
right,
you
fair
know what I
enough,
mean?
fair enough.
Let's
All
go.
right, welcome to our channel. I'm Tia Jones Medine,
I'm Maurice Jones.
and we are Reese and Tia. And today's topic is going to be about how important it is to love your partner in their love language. Now, Reese, I
Hmm.
know this is one of those topics that is near and dear to your heart. So,
Hmm.
talk to us about love language. Matter of fact, tell the people what the 5 love languages are.
Um, it is. I believe it's words of affirmation.
Mm-hmm.
It's acts of service.
Okay.
It's quality time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's touch, physical
Touch.
touch,
Uh-huh.
and what's the last one?
Gifts.
Gifts. Yeah,
Gifts.
gifts.
Gifts. So for those of you who don't know, there are 5 love languages, and basically what this is the way that we as people receive love. You know, our best way of telling others how we want to be loved. So you have people out there who they do acts of service, like for instance, like a husband may wash his wife's car. That's an act of service. You have touch. Obviously, that's touch. You have quality time. Somebody wanting to spend time with someone. You have words of affirmation, hearing kind words about the other person. And then you have gifts, which is, again, self-explanatory, just giving intrinsic items and things like that to people. So, Reese, if you want to kind of talk about that, let me ask you this. Um, Personally, what are your love languages?
My love language is acts of service.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a twist between quality time and words of affirmation.
Okay, okay. Um,
What?
I'm at a loss of words right now. Caleb and
What happened? What happened? Did my love language throw you for a loop? What
No,
happened?
it didn't. I don't have a question.
Oh, oh.
No, but I'm gonna come up with a question now. All right, so repeat your acts of
Repeats my service, my acts, my, my acts of service. Repeat
repeat
my
your
love
love language.
language.
Yes.
Got you. Yeah, this is a good show today. So
And I ain't
it
even drinking
is.
yet.
It's words of affirmation
Mhm.
mixed with quality time, and then my first one would be acts of service.
So acts of service and then quality time. So just kind of give an idea of what someone, what your significant other would do for you that would make you feel loved in terms of acts of service. And you said the second one was words of affirmation.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So for me, I think because I'm such a giver, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in our family, I think
Yeah.
our family is big givers.
Yeah.
They may not be the huggy, touchy
This is
type,
true.
but we'll give the shirt off our back. So for me, it's just like when people take that extra initiative to be thoughtful,
Mm-hmm.
to do something for you that you may not even realize you needed it done. Just taking that because honestly, I feel like you're being thought of outside of
Mm-hmm.
self, right? And so it's a selfless type of movement that really intrigues me about it because I know the effort that it takes for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I do express love that way, but I do also know it's important to know how your partner receives love too, because a lot of times, just because you receive love that way, your partner may not. So it's important to identify and know that as well. But for me, I do. I 100%. I love that, and then I love the words of affirmation. Like you could be doing a good job, but I don't know if this is like from childhood, just getting that little gold star, or seeing the marks on your paper, from getting your report card, understanding that you got straight A's or you made the honor roll. Is like I think it all boils down into like people may not admit,
Mm-hmm.
but I think we all like to hear a good job. You know.
Right. Okay. That's fair. That's fair. So, can you give the people an example of something? You don't obviously don't have to name the person, but just something someone did that kind of made you think in terms of your love language, like they reached that highest level in terms of giving you your love languages or feeding to your love language.
Well, for you guys who don't know, I was married for a while, and it it was a lot of things that my wife at the time, she was very mindful about, and she was very giving about. Um, just planning trips or just the initiative of just doing things without even asking. So it's a lot. I mean, we could that could be a whole episode about someone who have done things. I mean, even down to my mother, and again, like our family. So it's a lot of thoughtfulness that comes into it, and I can appreciate it over the years. But yeah, that's basically it's just the thoughtful. It's not even actually just doing something either. For me, I think it's just the being mindful of me.
Okay, just a thought.
Is the acts of service, like
Okay.
the just being mindful. Like I could be in bed and just on your way upstairs, you just was like, I'm gonna grab you a bottle of water, because you probably thirsty. Was that a lot? No, but it's a mindfulness that means the most to me.
Right, it's a thought that counts.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. How about yourself?
In terms of?
In terms of your love language, what are your love languages?
So mine are actually very similar to yours, or actually the same as yours. Acts of service and quality time. Quality time being number one. I think for me, quality time is extremely important. Just knowing that that person has taken the time out of their day to spend with me is just a big deal for me. And I'll give you an example. And for those of you who have or have not watched our other videos, the worst date, this is just an example of what happened. I've been married for 7 years now, together with my husband for 10. And on one of our first dates.
It's been that long.
Yeah, it has.
Jesus.
Yeah, I know, time goes by fast. God. So on one of our dates, the worst date, we actually did go golfing, mini golfing, and we got to swing on hammocks in Philly and do all those kinds of things. Very nice. And so I believe it was on our 3rd anniversary. He basically took the backyard and he changed it. He made it a mini golf area. He put up hammocks. We had lights and everything. It was just it was reminiscent of that night when we had that date. And so just the fact that he thought about that as acts of service and getting all those things together and stuff like that.
I never knew that.
Quality time. Yeah,
you keeping secrets.
I got a ton of things. So they all come out. They all come out in the video. Okay. But yeah, so that's just an example of acts of service and quality time. Quality time is just a number one for me. It's a must. And sometimes I kind of find it hard that other people. I think everybody has a little touch of quality time that they want, right? Like I think that's one of the things that's like up there. Yeah. So that's pretty much my take on the love languages. But Reese, what I will add is that I do find that, or let me ask you this: do you think that relationships often don't work because people are not getting what they're requesting of in terms of their love language?
Absolutely. I've talked to many people where, a good friend of mine, he was like, man, I'm buying her flowers, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and like, what does she mean? Like, how come she don't see how I feel?
Right.
I come in the house with flowers, and it's all nice and everything, and it's like, but is that what she want, or is that what you're doing? Right. And the thing is, if you spoke with her, maybe she wanted something different. Maybe she wanted just time. So you could have got her a truckload of flowers.
Right.
Nice.
Right.
But that's not what I'm looking for. And I think we have to understand it's a selfishness there when you can't see what your partner is saying to you. And again, it's a fine line, because how do you say, well, the flowers aren't that important?
Without hurting other person's feelings.
Yeah. So it's like, oh yeah, it's nice, but you got to understand it. And I think it's the same way with, I think that just floats in anywhere. Like, you have to be conscious about your partner and the way their love language set up, because they're not receiving love from you when you think you are. And honestly, I just talk to a lot of men that really have a hard time understanding that mental hurdle of things, because men be like, oh man, I just took her out to dinner. She said we don't spend time. Oh, we just came back from a vacation and we was there the whole time, and she like, oh, we didn't spend time. Yeah, well, was you on your phone the whole time? Was you, so you can be there and not be there. you
Right.
know, and we have to be conscious of that, even with our children, right? You know, because just because they're in our house with us, are we really putting that time in? Are we on the phone? Are we watching our favorite show or whatever, right? So we got to understand that too, because that just, I think it rolls over in so many different examples.
I think that's true. I really agree with that. For me, especially when it came to my clients, especially when it came to marriage or couples, one of the things that I would require is for them to take a test, a love language test, just to kind of see their compatibility, and then we sit and talk about what this person prefers, and how can you compromise and make this work. So I think it is definitely a very important component in relationships that people fail to see and adhere to.
Mm.
So yeah, I think it's very important, but it's not something that we make important, so to speak, in
Why is that
relationships.
though? Why don't you think we make that important?
Because we live in a society where it's all about me, 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 me. So
Mm.
I'm not really concerned in what your love language is, right? Because it's all about mine. Like,
Hmm.
so I think that plays again. I think that plays a big role, and I'm not saying that's with every relationship, but I think we just live in a me, 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 and I think it's getting worse and worse. People not concerned with what you want.
No. And that's sad to say people when we're talking about someone that's possibly your partner.
Yeah, but it's true. That's true.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, um, I think a lot of therapists, I think a lot of clergy, and you have some Christian love language books and assessments and things. And anybody that works with couples should look into talking to those couples about their love languages. I think that's very important for premarital counseling, all of those various different things, so people get to understand and learn their partner more.
Mm.
So I think it's very important. But yeah,
Learning to partner more,
learning the
for
partner more.
sure.
Yeah.
But it has to be a place where the person's not selfish,
Right.
right?
Right.
And love should overtake that selfishness, right?
You
Love
would
is a
think.
verb, right?
You would think.
Because people are so quick to say, "Oh, I love you," and "I love you." And what is love? Like,
You hit it
you
right on the
know?
head. What is love? Right.
Yeah.
Right. I think love is like, what do they say? Beauty. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I
Hmm.
think love is the same way. Love is different for different people. Love is not the same.
And I think that's the problem. I really think that's the
Why
problem.
do you think that's the problem?
Because how do you diversify love? Love should be, love is.
Hmm.
I don't understand why, why love is this for this person and that for that person. Like love.
Well, love should be Tupac unconditional love. Love should be unconditional, right? It should be
Okay.
unconditional, but it's not. It's conditional
Okay.
in the world that we live in. And I'm saying the world we live in, but it's been like this for years, hundreds of years. But love should be unconditional, and I think that's what you're talking about when it comes to love. But the way one person loves one person is not the same as how another couple would love. Love can look differently. Would you
Okay.
agree? Would you disagree?
I mean, yes, I do think love looks differently, right? But ultimately, I think it should be the same. Like it's a verb. It's what you do. It's
But
what you
what you
do.
do is different, though.
Yeah, it is different, right? Because everyone is different.
Mm.
So what I do for you,
Mm-hmm.
I may do that different for someone else.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, the essence of love is still what you do. Like I'm going to do something for you that I wouldn't normally do,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
that falls into your kids,
Mm-hmm.
your partner, your mom,
Mm-hmm.
whoever, family member. Like it's like I think we've all been in that space where it's like, man, you lucky you my cousin, cause I wouldn't, you know what I mean? I'm not. Are you lucky you
Right.
my? If you wasn't my daughter,
Right. 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 Right.
what? If you wasn't my son,
Right.
I'm not
Right.
doing nothing. It was tripping, and you find yourself dragging yourself to go do it. I think that's the essence of
Unconditional.
love. That's the unconditional, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when you get to a space where now it's like your partner is telling you they need this from you
Yeah.
and you can't do it, where's the
Mm.
love?
Mm.
Where's the love?
I mean, that's a good question. Sing the song.
So I just think it's a selfishness, and you can't be selfish in love,
Right.
and
I agree.
I think that's where people also have to be honest, right?
Mm.
Because again, when you're honest, you're allowing me space to forgive you,
Mm-hmm.
which is an act, which is the love.
Mm-hmm.
But now when you lie, it's deceitful.
Right.
Now we getting into a whole different situation, right? Because now I can forgive you, but now I got some trust issues now.
Right. But to forgive and forget is another episode.
Yeah.
So tune into that.
Yeah. But to the original context of what we're talking about,
Right.
I do think love, that love is just act, it's an act of, it's an act.
It is an act. It is 100% an act. It should be an unconditional act, but again, it is conditional.
Yeah.
So, and again, it's unfortunate, but I think that if people really buckle down and I think couples should do this so they get a better understanding. I think it will really change your perspective and see your partner in another light, because you'll kind of get to understand them better by knowing ways in which they receive love.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the best way for them to receive love. So if you guys are interested, you can Google it. 5 love languages. I mean, it is online. There is an assessment you could take, and like I said, whether you are Christian, or if you just want to take just one for the general public, that's perfectly fine as well. They do have them out there, and I think it will help you guys out a lot.
Yeah, to just understand it. And honestly, that's the work, right? People use this word intentional, and we have to be intentional about what we are doing.
Mm-hmm.
We got to be intentional about the work we are doing,
Mm-hmm.
not just say, "Oh, I'm intentionally moving this way,"
Mm-hmm.
but what are you intentionally, working on?
Mm-hmm.
So, if you having a problem in your relationship and you feel unheard, try to be intentional about understanding why you're unheard.
Mm-hmm.
What is the cause, right? Because if you two love each other, then why not? Why can't we sit down and figure this out and just put our differences away? Let me shut up this ego and hear what you have to say. Right?
That's fair. That's fair.
And I always turn to you because I just feel like you're the professional here, so I try to lean on that.
Well, I mean, but Reese, you speak in facts though, in terms of just love in itself and the importance of the love languages, what they mean, and in loving someone, and just trying to figure out a way to even put this. I mean, I think sometimes people love without a purpose. They just love to say they love somebody because it sounds good. They're not even putting the work in to do so. And again, back to the 5 love languages. What work do you need to put in to make this work with your partner? What works with your partner? Things like that. So I mean, it almost a love with a purpose. Love with a purpose. I think I'll leave off with that.
Love and a purpose.
Love with a purpose.
I just want to say this one thing too. Whoever y'all are out there dealing with it, right? Just try not to give up, because you could be on that cusp of a breakthrough. Sometimes, and I can speak for myself, you could be with someone and they not realize what they're doing, because they're stuck in their tunnel vision about it, right? And they just don't understand. And sometimes it just takes that extra push to get them to understand. And once that happens, you could have a whole different person. You could have the person, that evolved person that that you knew deep down inside they are, right? So make sure you know who you're dealing with, and don't forget that, because it's going to be a lot of struggle. It's going to be a lot of things that happen, but hold on to the core essence of who you know that person to be. So because sometimes things just look different than what and you got to kind of hold on to it, that belief, and trust that, like, this person is not trying to hurt me. This person just doesn't know the impact of their actions, right? Because a lot of times we don't know the impact of the cause of what we're causing. And when you figure that out and you see it, it's like, holy shit. Sorry. But it's really like that, like, what have I been doing? And that's the growth, right? That's the breakthrough. And I call it the golden journey,
Golden journey.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not gonna say what that makes me think of when you say golden, but
Okay.
The golden journey. Sorry,
Okay.
But that brings on another point though, Reese, and I'm glad you said that. You mentioned the word foundation.
Yeah.
And so we're not gonna talk about this here, but I think in our next episode, what do you think about friendship as a foundation of relationships.
Absolutely.
I think that's a big deal. And I think
Absolutely.
that's a topic that we're going to talk about in one of our next episodes because I think a lot of relationships, people just get together, think it's going to work, and don't have that friendship to fall back on. No. So oftentimes you'll find relationships fall apart. But we'll save that for another episode. Reese, you got anything else for love languages?
Nah, I think I'm cool. All
right. Well, with that being said.
What? With that being said, what? What am I supposed to say?
Closing it out.
Oh, I'm supposed to close it out? I didn't know. So, that being said, like and subscribe. We was really silly on this episode today. Like and subscribe, let us know, leave the comments, and we'll see you next time. Peace.